Wrap the measuring tape gently around the widest part of the chest, taking care to leave 2 fingers of space between the tape and the body. Wrap the measuring tape around the widest part of the hip, taking care to leave 2 fingers of space between the tape and the body. Measure the jacket length from the bottom of the undercollar to the hem of the jacket. Stand behind the customer and put the shoulder slope measurement tool on the shoulder. One side against the neck, the other side at the end of the shoulder. If you want to measure with a phone, make sure you measure on the middle of the shoulder. You will get the best result from behind. When entering the measurement, right is customer's right and left is customer's left. Drape the balance tape around the customer's neck with one end, the button end, shorter than the other. Pull the balance tape to the back under the armpits. Fasten, then tighten the balance tape and make sure it's horizontal on the customer's back. Now take the long remaining end of the balance tape and wrap it tightly around the customer's chest, coming back to the button. Fasten, then make sure the balance tape is completely horizontal all around, making sure the balance tape sits high in the customer's armpit. In the middle of the back, measure between the balance band and the body. Measure the front of the chest with your fingers against the armpits. It is important to place the fingers against the armpits and not under nor inside the armpits. Make sure the customer does not move his shoulders back or lift his arms. Slide the girth ruler under the armpits, moving the short arm of the ruler towards but not too tight against the body. In the same way as the front chest, measure with your fingers against the armpits. Again, make sure your customer does not lift his arms or moves his shoulders. Measure from the middle of the balance tape in the neck to the middle of the balance tape on the chest level. Before taking this measurement, make sure your balance tape is perfectly horizontal from front to back. Drape the measuring tape around the customer's neck. Measure the distance from the middle of the balance tape on one end to the exact same height on the other end. In much the same way as the front balance, drape the measuring tape around the customer's neck and move the measuring tape sideways towards the armpits. Measure from the middle of the balance band to the exact same height on the other end. Wrap the measuring tape gently around the smallest part of the stomach, taking care to leave 2 fingers of space between the tape and the body. Wrap the measuring tape gently around the widest part of the stomach, taking care to leave 2 fingers of space between the tape and the body. Measure the neck, taking care to leave 1 finger of space between the tape and the body. We recommend taking the shoulder-to-shoulder measurement on a well-fitting jacket. Measure from the shoulder seam to the shoulder seam on the other end. If no well-fitting jacket is available, measure from the shoulder bone to the shoulder bone on the other end. Taking the measurement either way, make sure you measure from shoulder to neck to shoulder in an arc. Measuring the correct arm length is a multi-step process. Start from the middle of the neck towards the middle of the shoulder point. Now measure onwards from the shoulder point to the lateral outside of the elbow. From this point, measure onwards to the start of the hand. To find the start of the hand, put your fingers around the customer's wrist and move down until you can go no further. The total measurement from the neck to the start of the hand is the arm length. Measure the upper arm around the thickest part of the arm. For muscular men, this part is usually a bit higher than the middle of the upper arm. Measure just beneath the elbow, around the thickest part of the forearm. Measure around the wrist. Take care to leave 1 finger of space between the tape and the wrist. Drape a measuring tape around the customer's neck and imagine the closing height of a jacket. This is usually a few centimeters above the navel, but can be placed anywhere you please. You can also measure this on an existing jacket. Measure from the waistband, which should be in the small of the back, to the floor. Please make sure your customer's legs are within shoulder width, as spreading them too much shortens the distance between the waistband and the floor. Measure from the waistband to the floor along the trouser seam. Similar to the back balance, measure from the waistband to the floor. Please make sure your customer's legs are within shoulder width, as spreading them too much shortens the distance between the waistband and the floor. Use a special inseam measurement tape for this measure, with an iron tip, to make this easier and more comfortable. Measure all the way into the crotch, to the floor, along the leg. Please make sure your customer's legs are within shoulder width, as spreading them too much shortens the distance between the crotch and the floor. Pass the measuring tape between the legs, giving the customer one end to hold against the top of his waistband. Then gently pull the measuring tape to the top of the back waistband. Measure the waistband over the waistband. Measure the thigh about 8 cm down from the crotch position. Take care to leave 2 fingers of space between the tape and the body. Measure the knee, taking care to leave 2 fingers of space between the tape and the body. Measure around the thickest part of the calf. Often this is lower than you expect. To make it easier to find this point, put your hands around the customer's calf and move up and down until you find the thickest part. This is where you should measure. Take care to leave 2 fingers of space between the tape and the body.